It was always going to be provocative, a visit to a disputed holy site in Jerusalem by a far-right minister.
Newly appointed police minister Itamar Ben-Gvir visited the Temple Mount.
Temple Mount is open to all. Muslims and Christians come up here, but yes, also Jews, he says.
We're deeply concerned by any unilateral actions that have the potential to exacerbate.
Israel's current situation is one of constant tension and upheaval. Despite Arab aggression and opposition, Jewish interest in rebuilding their temple is growing. Several events have occurred in recent months that appear to be increasing Jewish interest in the temple movement in Israel. The water libation ceremony during Sukkot, the Feast of Tabernacles, was one of the more interesting developments, as it was watched by a large audience. This ceremony, which served as a step toward building and erecting the third temple, was organized by Orthodox Jews. Is it written in the Bible that the temple will be rebuilt? Is it necessary to rebuild the temple? Is this the end of the world as we know it? To learn about all of this, watch the video until the end.
Hello my friends, this is Linol Anderson here with you guys with a brand new YouTube BitChute video. Well, as you can see, we started the video off with that clip. And make sure you stick around, because in a few moments I'll be showing you the rest of part 1 and part 2. Okay, you don't want to miss the footage that we got here. But I just wanted to talk to you guys about a few things first, about some current news that's happened in the past couple of weeks when it comes to the rebuilding of the third temple, and some biblical events, clashes between the Muslim community and the Jewish community that's taking place. That's all leading up to this. So we're going to get right into that, my friends. But before we do, I'm just going to encourage everybody to hit that subscribe button, because on this weekend, I'm going to be revealing to you guys who the Antichrist is, who's going to be sitting in that third temple when it's built. I've cracked the code, I've figured it out, so make sure you subscribe so you don't miss that. Hit this like button so this video gets seen by more people, helps me out so much. And just have to give a shout out to my sponsors, OWELLI Liver Detox. We're being attacked on all fronts, my friends. Our livers we're being poisoned. And all the stuff in the food, the air attacks our liver. Our liver detoxes everything out of our body. So this will detox your liver, get all those toxins out of you so you can be healthy. The link is down below. Check it out. All right, my friends, let's get into it. So yeah, these end-time biblical events are taking place as we speak. It's all playing out. And people who've watched this channel know, no, it's not because, it's all holy, divine, end times, God, Jesus is coming. No. It's more so along the lines, it's called the Great Matrix Redo. And we're in a matrix simulation, and history repeats itself. These events have happened many times in the past. That's why it's the third temple, right? There's been 2 other temples. The whole story just keeps going over and over again. It's predictive programming, okay? That's what it is. They tell you the truth in the movies, or the same thing. The Bible was predictive programming. Now we see that agenda in unfolding, okay? If you want to learn more about all that stuff, I got a playlist specifically for it called the Nibiru event, telling you exactly what's going on. The link is in the description at the end of this video. So that's what's going on with this whole situation, okay, my friends? And things are really escalating, because this prophecy is going to mark the end times, and the end times prophecies are all going to take place with this third temple, including the Antichrist, right? So we see things escalating when it comes to this prophecy, my friends. In the past couple weeks, past week or so, a lot going on, right? Easter, Ramadan, all of it for very big reasons. It has to do with all this stuff, right? Well, my friends, there's been lots of stuff happening where they want to build the third temple. It's at the Temple Mount, but currently on the Temple Mount is the Dome of the Rock and Asqa, I think it's pronounced, or maybe I'm pronouncing it wrong. But it's this mosque that's the third holiest site to the Muslim community. And they believe that's where Muhammad ascended. But there's a problem there, because that's where the third temple is supposed to be. That's where the first temple, the second temple was. And, it's a very sacred, holy site. I believe there's obviously probably on energy ley lines of the earth. That's everything, the Great Pyramid, all these important sites around the energy ley lines. But there's also another secret there about what lays underneath there that I can't get into right now. But maybe someday I will, so subscribe. But let's just say it's an important place. And that's why they need to rebuild that third temple for the prophecy. Well, in the past couple weeks, there's been a lot of violence there, my friends, because the Muslim community know that they don't want that Temple Mount there anymore. And yeah, lots of violence. I guess the Israel police force or something stormed the place. Take a look. That's right. So they stormed there. I think they weren't letting people do their Ramadan worship, and some people lost their lives in the controversy. And of course, there's outrage in the Muslim community, even rockets firing off towards Israel coming from different Middle East countries there. So a lot of outrage. They know that the Jewish people, they want that. They don't want that there anymore. As a matter of fact, the Israeli, one of the guys in the Israeli military in one of their buildings or something, picture of the Western Wall, they just edited out the Dome of the Rock Mosque. Take a look. That's right, they edited it right out of there. So I think that's them showing you that they don't want that there anymore, So it's a battle going on between the two religious communities because it's such a holy site, right? But see, they want the prophecy of the third temple to be built. So their Messiah, the Moshiach, that's what they call them. The Messiah, they need to have that third temple, and for the Moshiach, they need it. And the Bible speaks about how the man of sin, which is the Antichrist, is going to sit in the third temple and declare to be God. That's all going to happen. And we are approaching these end days where this prophecy is going to be played out, and I'm letting you know. And I don't know when it's going to be, but soon there's going to be something that's going to happen to that temple. It's going to go down, my friends. And I don't know if a fire is going to happen. They've already tried setting fire to it before in the past, I believe. Take a look. Didn't work for them, though. So they got to keep trying, right? But, it's very interesting times indeed. And let's just say once it goes down, there's going to be lots of violent confrontations for sure. Lots of controversy, lots of chaos. But just know, as soon as that happens, that's more prophecy being fulfilled. And then we are in those end days officially. And the Antichrist is near. Now, I'm not saying Donald Trump is the Antichrist, because he's not. But he's very close to the Antichrist, okay, my friends? And he paved the way for the Antichrist. I know a lot of people love Donald Trump, right? Oh, he's going to save us. But let's just put it this way. If you love Donald Trump and think he's fighting the deep state and he's going to come save you, if that's what your belief is, then you, my friend, are going to love the Antichrist and you're going to fall for him easily. Oh, yeah. If it wasn't for Donald Trump, a lot of this prophecy wouldn't be happening. I got a video to show you of evidence of this. Did you know that they made he declared Jerusalem the capital of Israel, right? Which is Bible prophecy. And they were so grateful they made the third temple coin. Okay, and you'll see in the video a coin with him and then King Cyrus behind him. They say he's the reincarnation of King Cyrus or something like that, because King Cyrus built the second temple, I believe. And on the other side of the coin is the third temple. Okay, and you'll see, I'm going to show you Benjamin Netanyahu sitting here praising Trump and saying the Temple Mount is in our hands. Okay, so I'm going to show you that video and how this prophecy is unfolding. And then we're going to go to the rest of part 1 and part 2. Okay, my friends? So take a look at these videos and make sure you subscribe. As I say, subscribe to survive. And if you enjoy my work, join me on Patreon, where I got exclusive content you don't get anywhere else. I got the occult class teaching you all this hidden knowledge. Okay, I got the Ascend to 5D class teaching you the spiritual stuff to ascend in these times, your consciousness. Health class and Palladian channelings, everything. The links are down below. I'm also on Buy Me a Coffee. And yeah, any support would be great, but just make sure you subscribe. Now check this out. I'm showing you the Donald Trump, Benjamin Netanyahu video, and then the rest of part 1, part 2. Share this video with your friends and family, and that's it. Lionel signing off. Have a good one, my friends. Enjoy the videos. It's coming. Stay tuned, because I'm revealing the Antichrist this weekend.
And of course, I want to especially welcome Jared Kushner and Ivanka Trump. Your presence here today is a testament to the importance of this occasion, not only for the Trump administration, but in a very personal way, for you. For you, each of you, for the pursuit of peace, and for President Trump himself. Thank you. Dear friends, what a glorious day. Remember this moment. This is history. President Trump, by recognizing history, you have made history. So for me, this spot brings back personal memories, but for our people, it evokes profound collective memories of the greatest moments we have known on this city on a hill. In Jerusalem, Abram passed the greatest test of faith and the right to be the father of our nation. In Jerusalem, King David established our capital 3,000 years ago. In Jerusalem, King Solomon built our temple, which stood for many centuries. In Jerusalem, Jewish exiles from Babylon rebuilt the temple, which stood for many more centuries. In Jerusalem, the Maccabees rededicated that temple, and restored Jewish sovereignty in this land. And it was here in Jerusalem, some 2,000 years later, that the soldiers of Israel spoke 3 immortal words: Hal Habayit Be'adenu. The Temple Mount is in our hands. The Temple Mount is in our hands. Words that lifted the spirit of the entire nation. We are in Jerusalem and we are here to stay.
Will the temple be reconstructed? Lambert Dolphin writes in an article titled Moving Towards a Third Jewish Temple. If a new temple is to be built, a functioning priesthood must be present to perform the necessary rites and ceremonies. A priesthood of this kind is currently being developed. In an old stone building in Jerusalem's Old City, a small group of young scholars is preparing for the construction of the third temple and the arrival of the Messiah. Jesus says there will come a time where it won't matter whether you worship the Father on this mountain or in Jerusalem. The Father seeks true worshippers, those who worship Him in spirit and truth. According to John chapter 4 verses 21 to 24. The temple in which Jesus taught was destroyed in 70 AD and never rebuilt. The temple in Jerusalem is central to Orthodox and conservative Jew religions, and it corresponds with their faith in the Messiah. The third temple is the one that has yet to be built, and many modern Jews yearn for it, especially since their return to the Promised Land after World War II. Jews believe that their Messiah will appear in Jerusalem, where they have gathered, and at the Temple Mount. Following his arrival, the most prestigious time in Jewish history will begin. Muslims believe that when Prophet Isa returns, he will denounce both the Jewish and Christian belief systems. On the other hand, Christians believe that Christ will return to Jerusalem to validate the Christian belief system and faith. Jerusalem is significant for three Abrahamic religions: Islam, Judaism, and Christianity. For all three religions, the Temple Mount is thought to be the location where the Messiah will appear. Temple Mount is revered by Jews, Christians, and Muslims. It is the third most sacred site for Muslims. Despite being sacred to multiple faiths, the Temple Mount is also the source of contention between Muslims and adherents of Judaism and Christianity. The Yesha Rabbis Committee decreed in 1996 that Jews should be allowed to enter the Temple Mount, even though it has long been designated as a Muslim-only prayer site. The rabbis themselves prohibited Jews from entering the site. To counter the rabbis' bans, the Temple Mount Committee restricted entering only certain areas of the Temple Mount in 1996. For a long time, Jews have desired the construction of a third temple on the Temple Mount. For Jews, the third temple would be where the Jewish Messiah would be welcomed. However, the Temple Mount also houses two major Muslim sites, the Dome of the Rock and the Al-Aqsa Mosque. For Muslims, the Temple Mount is a holy place because before the conquest of Jerusalem, Prophet Muhammad arrived here on Burak in 621 BCE to take a brief tour of heaven with the angel Gabriel. After the Muslims conquered Jerusalem, the Temple Mount became known as Al-Haram al-Sharif. The Dome of the Rock was built in 690 BCE, and the Al-Aqsa Mosque was built in 715 BCE. Jews had not entered the Temple Mount since the 13th century due to the rabbinical prohibition, and also because Muslims did not allow Jews to enter. The Third Temple is a hotly debated topic. What about Christians, though? What is the Bible's take on the Third Temple? When Judah and Jerusalem were conquered by Babylon and Solomon's temple was destroyed, Ezekiel's book contains a vision of the temple being rebuilt. He describes the size and layout of the new temple, as well as how God's glory enters it. Ezra constructs the second temple in his books and restores Jerusalem's worship. However, Ezekiel does not see the second temple in his vision. The two were diametrically opposed. The visible glory was once again missing at the dedication of the second temple. Daniel, a contemporary of Ezekiel, speaks of the restoration of worship in Jerusalem and an Antichrist figure who perverts that worship. This was written before the construction of the Second Temple and had connections to the messianic ideas found in Daniel's writings. Several hundred people participated in a full-dress reenactment of the water libation as it was performed in the temple. This was led by Kohanim in priestly garb and accompanied by Levites playing musical instruments. The ceremony began at Sha'ar Hashbot, the Dung Gate in Jerusalem's Old City, where participants joined Kohanim or priests dressed in biblically mandated vestments and Levites dressed in special vestments. The musically gifted Levites led the ceremony, winding down ancient walkways into the valley below the Temple Mount with joyous music on drums, violin, guitar, and clarinet. As they traveled through an Arab town on their way to Shiloh or Siloam Spring, which was utilized during temple times, the throng chanted and danced. The parade was punctuated by 4 foot-long pure silver trumpets being sounded at each halt. The occasion was presided over by Rabbi Yisrael Ariel, Rabbi Dov Lior, Rabbi Aryeh Stern, Rabbi Shmuel Eliyahu, Rabbi Menachem Bornstein, Rabbi Uri Cherki, Rabbi David Shai Hakohen, Rabbi Ram Hakohen, and other notable rabbis. The parade was led by the gold vessel, or water jug. The jug was filled a Shiloh pool. The procession returned to the mountain summit. A model altar and utensils have been set up in an open area near the western hall. As in the temple, the altar was adorned with large, leafy willow branches. The ceremony concluded with a priestly blessing, followed by the once every 7 years Hakel ceremony. Though not explicitly mandated by the Torah, the water libation is part of Moses' oral tradition. Sukkot is a happy holiday. The water libation was the focal point of that happiness. The ceremony would last 15 hours in the temple, with celebrations lasting all night until the temple service resumed the next morning. Nations worldwide came to participate in the Sukkot celebrations, making it an international day of worship. During the final 6 days of the week-long Sukkot holiday, a libation of water was made alongside the pouring of wine at the morning service. The flask was filled with 3 logs, about 2 pints of spring water by Kohanim, who descended from the temple to the Shiloh spring at the base of Mount Moriah. Then, they went back to the temple. Then, 2 Kohanim climbed the stone altar in the inner courtyard of the temple and set 2 silver cups there. The wine was poured from the second cup by 1 Kohen, while the water was poured from the silver flask by another, both liquids pouring into holes in the altar made specifically for this ceremony. The Shiloh pool, known as Siloam in English and Silwan in Arabic, has a special place in the Bible and will be revived after the third temple is completed. The yearly trek to Jerusalem for the biblical feasts were started by pilgrims at the Pool of Shalom. They would proceed to the inner court of the Temple Mound to present their sacrifices after ritually cleansing themselves in the pool. The pool, which lies southeast of the old city walls of Jerusalem, receives its water from the Gihon Spring via the Siloam Tunnel, also known as Hezekiah's Tunnel. The pool, sometimes referred to in the Bible as the Lower Pool, was built under Hezekiah to replace an earlier Canaanite tunnel that was open to assault. The upper pool was recognized in the Bible. Armies were besieged by the new pool and tunnel, which shut off access to the spring. The waters are thought to have continued to flow south throughout the Second Temple period and gathered in a bigger pool, according to archaeologists. The excavation of this pool, which was found in the summer of 2004, is currently ongoing. It should be emphasized that the year after Shemitah is fortunate for the coming of the Messiah. The Babylonian Talmud cites Amos in the Tractate of Sanhedrin 97a. I shall erect David's destroyed booth or sukkah on that day. Amos 9:11. The tribe of Israel will be brought back from exile among the nations by God, according to a prophecy contained in the passage. As part of its accounts of the days leading up to the Messiah, the Talmud states, I will raise the Davidic tabernacle that has fallen on that day, as it is prophesied. The 7-year cycle, at the conclusion of which the son of David will arrive in the first year, will see the fulfillment of this passage, according to what our rabbis thought. On Rosh Hashanah 2 weeks ago, the Shemitah came to a conclusion. The Messiah will manifest in the first year after Shemitah, according to the Talmud. It should be noted that the Talmud goes into considerable length concerning the difficult times leading up to the coming of the Messiah. Although a physical temple will exist throughout the millennium and Paul's spiritual temple is now under construction, it is uncertain if Jews would construct another one prior to the second coming of Christ. The most essential thing we can do is to become a member of God's spiritual temple. That's it, fellas. Nobody can deny that the end is near, and as Christians, we must prepare for it. One can have peace and confidence in knowing that they are ready for whatever comes next by living a pleasant life to God and being prepared to face the challenges that may come with the end time.